Hey everybody, Dr. David Evans here. Welcome to the PIC TV Network News. Yep, your news channel that's on the PIC TV Network News around the world. Want to thank you for tuning in. Hey, and those who are on our social media platforms, tell your neighbor, tell your friends that the PIC TV Network News is on channel 942. And we're so happy today to have Ian Campbell is on. He's the business executive with the PIC TV Network. We also have Jerome Boyd. He is from Capitol Heights, Maryland. We have Pastor Jay from Baltimore, Maryland. We have Michelle Cox. She is from down in the great city of Atlanta. I'm Dr. David Evans from the nation's capital. And we have Darlene Harrington. She is from Bowie, Maryland. So we're going to come on tonight. I want to go right into our news story of the week. Pastor Jay, can you talk about two things that really shook your world, man, and what happened, that we can be up to date on what happened with these news stories, and we're going to get back into it even more. Come on, Pastor Jay. I think he he's coming right back, but he was mentioning to us earlier during.
I got it. What shook my world was Mr. Andrew Brown Sr. Out in North Carolina, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. He was being they had an arrest, or they had a search warrant and an arrest warrant for him, and tried to get away in his car. No weapons found, no drugs found in his house, and pretty much they shot him in the back, shot out his window of his car, and then the coroner, the medical examiner, mentioned that it looked like it was almost like execution style. And then the other story, teenager in Columbus, Ohio, who was about to attack another teenage female. The cops actually shot her. She had a knife in her hand. She wasn't attacking the police. She was attacking another citizen. And the cops shot and killed a black teenager. And both of those shook me, because if you look at the video of the black teenager in Columbus, Ohio, the parents were out there fighting with the kids. And then the kid dies. And so it's just another example of, how our community, we have stronger role models in our community. And the police are killing us because they can. We have allowed them to, enter into our neighborhoods that have been out of control, and they think they're coming into control. And a lot of it has to do with, I can't be the parent out there fighting with my teenage daughter. I should be trying to show them how to peacefully resolve issues and not escalate issues. So the police really shouldn't have even been involved if the adults out there were actually using de-escalation techniques instead of escalating the event. So those kind of two things kind of shook my world last week, because it's still two African Americans being killed by police officers.
Our audience today, those who are watching the PIC TV Network News around the world, Brother Jefferson, I look at you, man, being a principal of a school in Baltimore, and hearing you talk about this incident. I know it kind of breaks your heart, because, being in the school system and being a principal there, you see so much going on. That's amazing. This is why we want to cover stories like this on the PIC TV Network. I want to bring Ian Campbell in, who has to leave early because he has another meeting he has to attend. Brother Campbell, can you just talk about, when you hear information like this, another shooting? We just got over the George Floyd situation. We talked about that on the news last week. Now we're hearing about another incident. I know you have to leave real soon, so come on in, over Campbell, and give us some insight.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evans, for and the opportunity for us to be able to discuss these matters very openly and directly amongst each other. One of the things that have bothered me with the entire actions of police departments around the country is the fact that, you know, normally, if you're a child in daycare, in high school, playing sports, college, football, when you are having a bad day, when things are going rough for you, they put you in timeout. They just tell you, say, take a breather and regroup, get yourself back together. What they've done here with the police, they ain't put them in timeout, they put them on steroids. They are out of control across the country. They shouldn't be chasing people down, shooting people in the back, shooting people in the back of the head. They should be regrouping. They should be reevaluating their tactics. They should be reevaluating their engagement with the community. They should be looking to build bridges with the Black community. They should be looking to sit down and have discussion about how we can get the community's help to police the community. Instead, what we have is we have police gone wild. They rolled up on the gentleman for a warrant like it was out the movies.
They had 10 police officers on one warrant.
It was out the movies.
Yeah.
They're on steroids. They are out of control. Policing in America is out of control. And citizens at some point, I mean, I saw this little 70-year-old white lady had dementia. They tackled her down, broke her shoulder, threw her in cuffs, and laughed at her. So I believe that we're at a critical point in America where the police have been infiltrated by, white supremacy, and I don't even give them that title. I would say Nazi sympathizers. The police has been infiltrated by KKK. The police are acting in their original form as, the intent of policing goes back to slavery. They've taken on that role again. Then they're left it, and they're terrorizing us in our communities more so presently every day, and murdering us systematically one by one. And it's a powder keg. It's waiting to explode. America is on the verge of another significant event. I don't want to say civil war. It's a significant event.
You say something real interesting when you say that they have infiltrated, but I will go a step further. They have taken off their hoods for the black robe. They have taken off hoods for the badge. They have taken off their hoods to be school teachers. They have taken off their hoods to be everything to come in and really, tear down the Black race.
And this is not just, we're not just talking about, this is actually this is research by the FBI, by the Department of Justice, that this is exactly what happened.
Hoover said it in a speech in 1968. He said the biggest threat to America will be Negro unity.
Mm-hmm.
He said it.
And in 2006, 2008, the FBI, Department of Justice report indicates that the KKK have taken on robes. They're now put on suits as lawyers. They're police officers. They go into the military, getting trained, and coming back to their community, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're not just talking about this. This has happened.
But Marcus Garvey and the Black Panther Party and all of those who actually stood up for something in the Black community to help the Black community got wiped out.
And when you have privatized prisons,
mm-hmm.
when you have those type of institutions that depend on the public, when you have people in jails making computer chips and doing labor for corporations, it's only going to get worse. So the solution is the people need to have elected officials that can change policy or get rid of the elected officials that's currently in there. And that's across the board, all of them. We need to get rid of all the cops that's not saying anything. I have a post that says, see something, say something. No snitching is not a policy of the American Police Department. It should not be the policy. But if you have good cops standing by bad cops, watching them murder people, watching them break people's arms, watching them do bad things, that makes you a bad cop also. So unless you're going to do, unless you're going to say something to the Department of Justice, Internal Affairs, FBI, tell somebody, tell the media, but they're not telling anybody. So it's this blue wall of silence, and the George Floyd verdict is not a celebration. You know, it's just it's not even, it doesn't even scratch the tip of the iceberg. So what are we saying, that after his verdict now, cops are retaliating by murdering, people, and just continue to murder people, make it public? That we have to be able to do something without just sitting here being victims to it. We have to organize. They have guns. We need to walk around with our guns as well, because that's all they understand violence. They understand threats. And that's what happened when the Black Panther Party picked up their weapons legally and then walked with them in public. If folks can walk and invade the Capitol with all kind of weapons and no one stops them, then we should be able to walk the street with our weapons as well. Because America has gone out of control, and you just can't sit back and continue to wait for the next police officer going to blow your brains out.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you, Brother Campbell. We have to do a better job of organizing and not being so much of opportunists, but actually really organizing and really trying to change policy. And it starts with us.
We have to get in a position of power, as you guys are stating tonight. That's why we have our own news network on the PIC TV network. And, we have to cover our own stories. There's so much crime and violence going on, and people are just getting away with stuff. It's just so sad. My nephew, a while ago, he got shot 16 times, and they still haven't caught the person today. So we definitely have to keep conversations like this on the forefront, and talk about it. We have a platform, we have our own network with 60 channels on it. And I'm so happy, again, when we have people on, such as Brother Campbell, who is a businessman. He's one of the co-founders of PIC TV Network, and talking from an educational standpoint. So, and then we have Eric Jefferson on, who's not only in the clergy arena, but he is a principal in the school in Baltimore. Jerome Bowie, who also feeds the homeless people in ministry. So
we have one thing, Doc. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I know time is limited. Really sorry to hear about your nephew. There's a lot of us that have family members and friends who have died in the streets from gun violence and other violence. And, my brother passed away. We know who did it. We told the police who did it. They wouldn't do their jobs to go arrest the person. Police don't show up to stop crime. They show up after the fact and walk around and take a report. If the police was more involved in stopping crime, being present, and going after the folks who actually, we know who the drug dealers are on the corner. They have them on secret indictment. They go lock them up whenever they want. They wait to lock them up for a particular, when it's time, they go lock them up. They've been doing that for 30 years, 50 years. They know who the folks in the community are. They give them so much rope, let them do so much damage, and then they go lock them up. And when the next person in line takes over, they give them their run. It's a game for them.
Mm-hmm. I know that Principal Jefferson knows that even coming out of high school, I was a high school teacher at Marriott Charter High School back in 2006. And I saw a lot of young people just waiting for the next step in life and not knowing that it wasn't college. And it wasn't a job. It was prison. It was like the system was set up for them to do something when you come out of high school, to throw them right in the prison. Upper Marlboro is full. Hagerstown, full. You can name it.
Baltimore, don't even have to do anything.
Just Shelton.
Just full. I want Principal Jefferson to come back in for a second, Brother Campbell. You know, because being a principal and knowing the kids may not see that snare, they may not see that little thing that they make mistake, and the prison is waiting to throw them into the system. I have a godson who was like 21 years old, and he was riding down the road with his friends down in North Carolina, got pulled over by the police. He's in prison right now, been in there for 24 years. And on tonight, he said he's meeting with his lawyer, and I pray that the Lord help him to get out of there. He's been in for 24 years, just driving down the road with his friends. They locked him up and told his mom, if he don't sign this paper for his life, he's gonna get the electric chair. And he signed it. He's been in jail for the last 24 years. Principal Jefferson, can you elaborate on that for a minute? Because we got people watching all over the world, but they don't know there's a system out there waiting for them.
Yeah, I think, Dr. Emerson, thank you so much for allowing me to be on the show this week as well. But it's the prison starts with they take a study of third graders and they see if they're on the right reading level or not based on third grade. And then they determine the number of prisons they can build based on the number of students who are not on reading level in the third grade. So it really starts as early as child development age, where we really have to get into the neighborhoods, and our kids need to be in front of teachers at 2 years old, not 5 and 6 when they're starting kindergarten. Because if they're not, then they're coming into school 15 to 10,000 words behind their counterparts. So they're already starting kindergarten at a deficit. If the parents are not working with the children, if they're not in front of a teacher, a licensed teacher at an early age. So a lot of times the environment is dictating where they're going to be by the time they get to me and they can't read. The system is already determined where they're going to go. And it's a shame, but I'm still having high school students, they can't read on reading level. They may be on the 5th grade reading level. And I think what has happened in America is that the structure of the family has broken down so much. And when I say that people are afraid of the transfer of wealth, it's not just money, but it's the passing down of family values. It's the passing down of legacy, and the passing down of those things is broken in the Black community. So yeah, we have kids that are growing up in single parent homes, and mothers not allowing their father, not allowing the father of the children to even see them, or basing raising them based on some type of financial condition, or there's been a breakdown in the home. And because of that breakdown in the home, we're starting to see more and more kids in that prison, the pipeline. We want to blame the schools and we want to blame all these other people, but we first have to start looking at the breakdown of the home and the breakdown of the church. Because a lot of times, a lot of the education came out of the church and came when parents were very faithful to the church. Now we have a millennial age, the lower millennial age, and the Generation Z. Some of them have never been to church because their parents are Generation X and Generation Y, or millennials that have kids. They don't believe that church is relevant anymore. And so, but I have to say this, and the reason why people believe church is not relevant is not that Jesus is not relevant. It's the fact that how we have presented him to the world, who already thinks he's irrelevant, have made him more irrelevant based on our presentation of him. So I think it goes down to the breakdown of the family and the breakdown of this, I have to say, this prosperity gospel that has been preached for the last 20 years. Name it, claim it, get rich. And when you didn't, you left the church. Now you got two generations of kids who may not have ever stepped foot in a sanctuary, never stepped foot, don't even know what is even in the Bible. So now we have two generations of young people out there who don't know anything about anything spiritually. So it's a breakdown spiritually and a breakdown naturally from the home and from the church, I would say.
That's so real, because I see there's been a decline over the last 10 years of young people, because they invaded with all of these social technology things that's going on around them. So we have to really understand the mindset of the young people today, which we're going to turn this topic in a few minutes right after this commercial. We're going to come back. I want Jerome Bowie to come in for a minute. Jerome, you just talked about an incident that happened on last week in your neighborhood in Capitol Heights, where another person lost their life, a young person. You just told me about something that happened in Richmond where a person lost their life. And Jerome, when you look at the situation today, and is there any hope? Can you talk about this, Jerome, for a minute, about where we are today with all of this going on?
Well, Dr. Evans, I always believe that there's hope, even in hopeless situations like we are in now. Because if we stop believing there is no hope, that there's no reason to push or to come together and to push forward what we believe in. But I will say this, in all areas, we are being failed, even in the court system. I dealt with my wife's cousin. She was 45 years old. She was killed by her son, who was, her son was 26 years old. He killed her. But prior to that, she was in the courts with trying to get stay away order extended, and the judge told her that he wasn't going to extend the order because he hadn't did her no bodily harm, but he had did her so much harm in other ways that the judge should have extended the order. But 2 weeks later, he wound up strangling her and killing her, his own mother. So the courts fail us in all kinds of ways, and it's a lot of cases like that where people have stay away orders and don't get extended because somebody didn't do this because the perpetrator has rights too. But it's a lot of stuff we have to look at. In the youth, yes, here at Capitol Heights a couple of weeks ago, 13-year-old shot in the crowd and killed another 13-year-old up here in Capitol Heights. And so that's one young boy charged with murder, one young boy dead. Mother dropped him off at David Buster's in Capitol Heights, picked him up an hour half later. He was stretched out on the ground dead. So we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to really pray about, and a lot to, like you say, put faith to what we believe in, and let's get together. We ain't looking for no one leader to say this is the new Martin Luther King. We need to stop trying to get the credit for something to come together as all, and get changed, because like Pastor said, the police department is out of order. And I'm reminded about a statement that can the devil tax out the devil? No. So the police department is definitely out of order. And I believe now, even since the trial and the police found guilty on all counts, they're trying to show us now that, okay, he's found guilty, but we're going to step up what we do even worse. That's what it seems like is going on now. They're saying to themselves, the devil saying to themselves, and the racist ones saying to themselves, we're going to kill more, we're going to do more. And it's so blatant. So we got to, like you said, we can't just stand back and just keep getting killed and watching our kids get killed. And something has to be done. So we have to rally in the right way and make things happen. So we have a lot of work to do. So don't get so happy on the guilty verdict, because that's just one step of a long, like I say, long process. A long process.
Sir, thank you, Jerome. And I know, man, you have your grandkids, man. What type of world are we going to leave for our grandkids when we see them coming up behind us? And when we were growing up, we used to call them officer friendly. I mean, I remember growing up, my sisters on Darlene Raymond Elementary, we had a relationship. And now it's totally different. You know, we have to teach our kids, even when they get pulled over, don't show your hands, you know, because you automatically, you know, guilty just for being pulled over for something. It's like way down the South a long time ago, maybe 70, 80 years ago, you get pulled over in a dark road. There's a feeling that comes over you. So you never know is that going to be your last time. And it seems like some of these things are still alive today. We have to have a platform.
What happens when the youth and everybody gets pulled over, do the right thing, and still dies or still get killed or still get shot and disrespected? And we preach that, we teach that, and that's the definite thing to do. Do all you can to not prevent the police, but they didn't even give you a chance to prevent that. They just shooting. It's just out of hand. Like a pastor was saying, it's just out of control right now. You know, it's like, he black, shoot him. He did something wrong. We'll find him later. He got a gun. Like last incident I seen on video, it was dark. The man said he got a gun and started shooting. The man had a cell phone. You know what I mean? Call his phone. I mean, when is, you know, even in the military, from my understanding, you could be in Iraq. My son was in the military. You could be in Iraq and you got people walking around with guns and you right in warfare, can't even shoot. Now that somebody shoot at you. Think about that. You're in the army and you're out there in the war field and you can't shoot at no one until they shoot at you. But here on the streets, shoot first and then ask questions later, or deal with the consequences later. And we have these police unions that getting on TV saying, covering up and helping cover up the situation. And, you know, so it's a lot of mess going on, and we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it accordingly in the right way. I believe we just got the right way.
Yeah, we have to have a platform. That's why we have the PIC TV network, our own news. We're covering our news story of the week. You know, this is another family that we want to talk about from our community. This is why we do it on the PIC TV network. We're going to come back and after this commercial, and we're going to talk about another subject that's really growing and developing in our world today that all of us need to be aware of. This new AI, you know, this artificial information age that we in today. Artificial intelligence is here, and we're going to talk about the new wave of what's going on in our world, so we can keep these subjects alive on our PIC TV network and inform people. That's why we're here. So let's take a brief commercial break, and we're going to come back and share some more information. Tell somebody, those who are watching us on social media platforms, those on the PIC TV network around the world, thank you for tuning in. And from Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, United Kingdom, United States, wherever you're watching the PIC TV network broadcast, thank you for tuning in. And those who also on our platforms, we have 52 million people around the world. You can also email the PIC TV network at gmail.com. And if you're going to be on our network, you also can come on our PIC TV network news channel. All right, and we're going to take a break, and again, we'll be right back right after this.
We've all been hurt at some point, even abandoned. Many of us have done the hurting ourselves. We get to the point where we don't trust anyone, nor do we feel worthy of being loved by anyone. Then there's that one person who just doesn't give up on loving you. Their love is unconditional. Their love stays long enough for you to heal. And then they promise to never leave. That's love you can count on. God's love.
Hey, thank you for watching the PIC TV Network News. Bring a neighbor, bring a friend in right now. If you're on our social media platforms on tonight, we just discussing information about what's happening in our community. Too many lives being lost. You know, some are at the hand of the police, some are at the hands of each other. We need everybody to pull together so we can get past this killing. You know, it's so sad for a parent to come home and hear that their son or daughter or loved one has gotten shot. I don't ever want us to be comfortable in this state of just accepting things that's happening in our community like the Wild Wild West. You know, we never want to get comfortable in the state that we're in right now, that it's a part of the norm. You know, we see so much crime and violence on television that it seems as though, you know, we look at movies and you hear shooting and see killing, and even some of the games today that the kids are playing on. And we got to have mentors like Jerome is on today, mentors like Principal Jefferson who's on today, Ms. Darling Harrington, who's on today, people who are role models in our community so that we can set a new standard, set a new example, set a new level of leadership for our children and those who are coming behind them. It is so very important. And there's something else happening in our world, and we're going to talk about this, this artificial intelligence going on today. This is a day that we live in today where things are just changing right before our eyes. There's people who are today living in the Jetson age. We're here where robotics is in our medical system, which is a good thing. We also have robotics in different areas. Alexa is here. I have one right over here. But is it out of control? You know, is things out of control? When we look at other nations, and I was talking to my sister today that they can face recognition can name people all in China. There's billions of people in China, millions of people, and they do face recognition to recognize everybody. One of the Bible verses that says, righteousness exalts a nation, sin is approach to any people. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. We have to understand that America, are we a Christian nation? Are we a godly nation? We have to look at our standards. In God, do we really trust? So when we look at how things are evolving around us, I was in Clubhouse earlier today, and they were talking about how the food industry is going to change because you can order on your kiosk and then the food is going to be prepped by itself. A robot will have that there. I heard one person say robots will be serving communion in church if we don't be careful. You know, we're living in a day and time where money is not valued like it used to be when we were growing up, Darlene and Jerome. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't even carry money no more. We have credit cards, debit cards, swiping. Everybody has a number in the world. You know, even with the COVID-19 shots that's taking place, we're living in a day and time that we've never seen before. That things are happening so fast and that it's out of control from every aspect. We have this the day that we're living in, the artificial intelligence that's out here today, and again, robots are just taking over. I mean, jobs. Think about it. Your phone is a computer. Name me something that your phone can't do. You know, you can text, you can watch your movies, you can email. I mean, you can transfer money. It's a mini computer, and it's the world that we living in today. These apps never go off. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, never goes off. Clubhouse, TikTok, and more coming. Live Me, Periscope. These apps never go off. That means people are up 24/7, 7 days a week, never going to sleep. So we living in a day and time where technology, I really believe, is good and bad. It's the misinformation in the midst of the information age. When I see my sons, I have one son in California, Stephen Evans, and my other son, Amos Evans, who lives with us, and then my nieces and nephew, Aaron, Jada and Jared, and Jerome, your kids. They're in a different age because we never had a device that never goes off. We never had a device that we can push a button and things can go viral. We never had a device that people hold on to this like it's their Bible. They sleep with the phone. They eat with the phone. A scientific study says most people touch their phones 800 to 1,000 times a day. I mean, we're at the point now when certain things happen on our phones. If you lose your phone, people just don't know what to do. Some people don't even know their way home. They have to GPS themselves home. They don't even know how to get from one place to the next. Is it out of control? Where are we today in technology? With us in this age and day and time that we're living in today, is a lot of people, again, who are watching us. And we're going to do like a 7-part series on this subject, because we have to talk about it. We have to be up to date on what's going on in our world. We don't want to be the last ones to find out after something takes place. And this is one of the reasons why on the PIC TV network, we created our own news channel where people can come on and watch our own news. We can tell our own news story. We can cover our own news stories along with our other 60 channels on our network. I wanted to have Pastor Jerome to come back in, being also multi-gifted, multi-talented in certain areas, even with working with Uber or Lyft or whatever work you may be doing on the side, like me with dual jobs that I do, not only a television network, but I do a lot of other things. Jerome, talk about how this technology has changed the game as far as even working at Uber and others, where you can literally work today and cash out right now. Never heard of before. You can even, sign up and not even go and have an interview, not even go into the office and meet the person and talk to the person. You can literally sign up today and work on next week if you pass your car passes and everything passes, and you can make money and again cash out the same day you make. If you make $500, you can cash out today. We never heard of that 10 years ago. Jerome, come on, talk about to us about the change.
Yes, technology has really changed so much. Even with like you say, like me, a lot of things I don't know about the phone, Darlene, and the things that goes on my phone. But I have grandkids, 16 years old, 15 years old. 10 years old, know everything about phones, how to do this, how to do that. But yes, you got companies like Uber and DoorDash, and you have companies like Lyft. You can sign up for these companies and drive. And within a week, you be on the road driving after you pass your background check, and you get paid every day now. You can make $300 in one day and cash out that same day, and the money go in your car. You can use that money for whatever you want to use it for. You can take money out the most machine with it. You can go shopping with it. So, like you say, money is about to be obsolete. It's about to be gone. Most people don't even carry money no more. But Uber give you a card, a black card, a Uber card, and you can make $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week. It's up to you. I mean, just picking people up, dropping them off, just like that. You like you said, you never met the CEO of the company. You never went on a physical interview. Everything was done through the phone. You typed in your name, you typed in your information, your social security number. They said to get back with you a week later. You on the road driving. You go get your car inspected, and you picking up people, and you're in the car with strangers, and they meet with you because of the computer, because of the phone. Now you got where you can be riding around, picking somebody up, and they can see you where you at, how far you away, and what turns you're making before you even get to pick them up. So they know everything about you and everything. They know your name, your car color of your car, and have a little history about you. So it's like amazing. You're right. I just so happen to have my niece here, my grandbaby here, Destin Bryant. If you don't mind, I want to bring it in real quick. Now, this is a young lady who made honor roll, and she is Destin Bryant, my grandbaby, 16 years old. Mostly age. Just made honor roll. Father just took her out to dinner, celebrating her making honor roll. We don't talk about those kind of things. That's why I thank you, Dr. Evans, for PIC TV and highlighting what's going on in the world. This young lady is honor roll because I couldn't imagine something happening to her or getting a call, Darlene, saying the police did something illegal or did something wrong. I couldn't imagine that. So that's what we got to deal with every day. My grandkids all made honor roll, A's and everything.
I wanted her to come in.
Yes.
I wanted her to come in for Jerome, and she wanted to sit in for a second.
Right here.
You know, I wanted her to come in on the PIC TV network. You know, and I want to thank you for coming in today. I'm so proud of you. My son Amos, he was on the same track you were on, straight A student from elementary school to high school, and graduated from Carnegie Mellon University. And doing wonderful things. So I'm so proud of you. You know, when you look at your generation, and the other young people in your school, how do you feel about living today with COVID-19, wearing the mask, staying home? How do you feel that has that made you want school more, want to be educated more, or how does that make you feel when you live in today at a young age in 2021?
School is like school is like it's harder, but it's easy at the same time. Like you just gotta know like how to talk to your teachers or what to say exactly to your teachers. And then with friends and like going out and standing in the house, I feel like now at first everybody was standing in the house, but now it's more so everybody isn't taking it as serious no more. Like it's just normal. Like to go out. I mean, everybody, I feel like us kids, we don't wear our masks. Like that's why a lot of us are getting sick or we bringing it back home. But to me, it's getting better. But I feel like it's a lot of now gun violence going on. Like a lot of people like are getting shot or getting killed, or it's just like way more of my community. Like we always getting killed or shot or something. Like it's not a lot of us no more. Every day somebody dying. Yes.
How do you feel when you see the AI that's out today, and with the robotics things? I know with the phone you can almost do anything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook Live, Marco Polo, Live Me, TikTok, all of these apps are out there, and a lot of things are geared towards your generation. Are you controlled by it, or do you control? Are you controlled by it, or you control it?
I control it. I mean, it's your page. They should be able to, but like some kids are controlled by it. Like that's why they do what they do because of social media. Social media is like they trying to prove a point, and it don't be no point to prove because it is what it is. It don't be nothing to prove to nobody. You should have to prove nothing to nobody.
Yeah, you know, we have a teen channel on the PIC TV network. I would love for you to be on our teen channel to talk about things that you guys talk about on our Teens channel on the PIC TV network. This is what it's for. You know, I'm so proud of you being an example. How old are you?
16.
16 years old. That you're in the prime of your life. You know, you're a smart, beautiful 16-year-old too. You know, so I see you going further. Anything we can do to help you with your education, to help get you through school, whatever we want to do. The PIC TV network is 100% for you, pushing you, and we want to help sponsor you, whatever you like to do to be a generation leader. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, right now, I'm taking a lash extensions, and I just got accepted into the cosmetology program, for Grand Park High School. So it's in between, like, more so cosmetics and stuff. I want to be in that. I want to be my own business owner. Like, I don't want to work underneath nobody. Like, that's a really big pet peeve of mine. I do not want to be.
Right, and that's where we see a lot of young people your age. They don't want to work under nobody. I was like talking to somebody, and they was talking about the other week buying an airplane, and I was like, I don't want to buy the airplane. I want to buy the airport. You know, so you can buy the airplane. I'll buy the airport, and investing with other people who can do that. This is real. You know, there's an airport strip for sale. But being with people who see your vision is the main thing you want to do. Your 20s are the age that you invest. Your 30s and 40s are the age that you see your return on your investment. And when you get to my age, you'll retire. You know, so you because you have so much already invested in. That's why you're investing in education now. You're investing in all the things you want to do now while you're young. So you'll get the return on your investment. At 16 years old, you were born to make the world a better place. And you're doing just that. And I'm so proud of you. And you have a good person right beside you that's going to be with you, hugging you or pushing you.
Yes.
So you said Gwynn Park High School? You said Gwynn Park High School?
But I'm transferring to Grand Park.
Okay, my son Stephen Evans graduated from Gwynn Park High School. Let me tell you Stephen's story in 1 minute. Stephen graduated from Gwynn Park High School. He got his first job working at Shoppers Food Warehouse. He was pushing grocery carts. He went from there to work at Best Buy. He moved from there to get his degree. And he worked at the White House. My son Stephen worked for the military. Now, my son Stephen is living in California. He's with Sony Records. He plays. He's on the Jimmy Fallon show this week, running the bands and stuff. He's been on BET, the small stage. He runs the events for that, and he lives in California. So when you see Post Malone, my son Stephen works on those projects with them. He J-Lo. My son Steven's out there doing some big things. So I'm excited when I see you on that fast track. You know, you got some role models ahead of you, and we're so proud of all for what you're going to do. The future looks bright, and we're so proud of you. Thank you. Hey, I want to also bring in Michelle, who is part of the PIC TV network. I know, Jerome, you lighting up like a Christmas tree, man. It's not Christmas, man. You like Santa Claus all over again. You're so proud, man.
Yes, I mean, when you think about young folks, and when they're doing the right thing, it's just something that makes you proud. Like her brother's 15, he's all age 2, honor roll. Her little sister, honor roll. You know what I mean? It's just a wonderful thing to see. In spite of all this, you have a lot of people out there still doing the right thing and still focusing and believing that.
You know, the education is so important today, Jerome, because I believe education is the process of learning, and we have to teach our young people and be those role models. And I'm so happy you're doing just that. And the PIC TV network, the network that you invested in, man, that you said, we gonna make this work. How much you need to make now? Your peoples are on. Isn't that amazing?
God allowed her to be here, and it was just good timing, and And that's a good thing about running a station for your people. You can just do what you need to do at any moment of the show. And I thank you for allowing me to come on.
Yes, she's family. Hey, everybody, we're going to come right back after this commercial, and we're going to have Michelle Cox to come on. She's a public relations person for the PIC TV network. We're going to talk about this AI world, this AI generation, this AI changes that's happening in our world before our eyes. And we're going to hear from Michelle, our PR person from the PIC TV network, right after this commercial. So those who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you're watching, bring somebody in, ping somebody in, bring them on in, because we're on the PIC TV Network News channel right now, and we're covering some information that you're going to hear, and you're going to want to get this information on our network. We'll be right back right after this. Hey everybody, I'm so excited today to have our very own PR person in, Michelle Cox from Atlanta, Georgia. And we're going to talk about AI today on this new segment, which is a very, very hot topic. Michelle, I want to go right into it for those who are watching our PIC TV Network News. Michelle, we talked earlier, and you talked about a whole bunch of stuff that's been in the making a long time. It's nothing new. It's already here, and it's not going to change. It's only going to grow. This monster is only going to grow more. Michelle, come on and talk to us and tell people what AI is who don't even know.
Well, AI is artificial intelligence. And when we talk about artificial intelligence, let's talk about all the things when we talk about the Internet of Things that connect us with AI. Now, one of the things when we talk about artificial intelligence, we're talking about Alexa. We're talking about robotics. We're talking about how they want to make computers think like humans. And that's the crux of AI. Artificial intelligence has actually been around since the 40s and 50s. Let's think about when we talk about the Jetsons. That was the future that we were looking for. Then let's think about, if you remember the comics Dick Tracy, and he had a smartwatch. Those are the things we're thinking about, but what they want to do is mimic the mind. And that's what artificial intelligence is about. Now, what we should be talking about is, are there inherent biases in artificial intelligence? So, Dr. Evans, let's talk about some of the biases we see, why they're there, and how we can combat some of them. And let's also talk about how artificial intelligence is on the forefront right now. It's been on the forefront for the last 10 years, but for so many people that aren't connected to computers or the Internet of Things or anything that has a technology base, they might have missed what's been going on all along. One of the things we know, and this was a study that was done by 12 women that are in the AI field, is the bias in artificial intelligence when it comes to facial recognition. Did you know that most of the participants, when they were building these algorithms, and these algorithms are what we call complex computer analysis to build these different programs, they didn't include Black and brown people. And so it's unconscious, but it's inherently a biased system, because the people that make them, a lot of times they're excluding Black people, women in general. They did one study about AI. They could not recognize popular women like Oprah Winfrey because she's dark-skinned, Serena Williams, Michelle Obama. So that has something to tell you about the inherent biases of AI. Now, as we dive further, because when I started in computers 20 some odd years ago, we had single processing chips. Now we have processing chips that have 64 cores, so they act like 64 computers at one time. And the amount of RAM that you can use is unlimited. Our phones today, our phones that we use today are smarter and faster than the mainframes that I started on back in the 70s and 80s. If you think about that, but we also think about who's controlling the money. Because those teams, the Microsofts, the Googles, the Amazons, are not diverse as they claim to be. And that's part of the problem. So let's talk about inclusion and diversity. That's one of the biggest hiccups to AI today. And when you say, is AI gone out of control? Is it running rampant? That's one of the central problems. So Dr. Evans, I have a plethora of information, including there are 12 women, Black women, that have been going to the forefront of AI to make sure that Black faces are in artificial intelligence today. And these are doctors from Stanford, Harvard, all over the world that are saying, hey, there's inherent biases in AI. And these are the companies that are unwittingly pushing this forward without thinking about the ramifications for Black and brown people.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question with you, Michelle, and you're so brilliant, and thank you again for being a part of the PIC TV network and we're really running the PR department, public relations. This is your field, and I let everybody on tonight. This is what you do. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. The AI, artificial intelligence, has some good and bad. When we talk about robotics and how the medical field has changed and has gotten better with artificial intelligence, which is great. They can operate, they can use laser surgery, they can use cyber surgery, they can do a lot of great things. But then when you think about the job situations, I was talking to some chefs on Clubhouse earlier today. They were in fear of their jobs because they said you can go to a kiosk now, and they're going to have in the future where you can order your food and a robot will fix it, and nobody will be back there. Even when we were talking earlier about the televisions, we were growing up, Magnavox, Sony, you had different type of Panasonic, and now you would talk about your dad. Now there's a chip in every TV, and now there's a flat screen. We don't even use the big butt TVs no more. Those big butt TVs are gone. And they're so heavy they break your back when you try to move them. So there's more in a little chip now. You have these megabytes, and the phone. We at the pace now. I ordered iPhone 12 Max with 36 gigabytes, and they said that's too small for me. I need 516. Are we out of control? Are we out of control with this situation? You don't have to go to my sister Darlene, who's on right now, flies to Switzerland or Sweden. She don't even have to check in anymore. She gets her phone does everything. Swap phone and then goes through customs and she's on. I mean, how many people are going to lose their jobs? Millions of people, because the computers are taking people's jobs. Even when you go to the grocery store, I go there late at night at Harris Treaters and Shoppers. I know you may not have that down in Atlanta, Georgia, where you are, but we have Harris Treaters, Shoppers. We have the food. Nobody's there at 11 o'clock. You check yourself out. You know, so are we out of control with this?
Well, it was one of the things that I was talking about with my collaborative business partner. And one of the things we were mentioning is that literally they're looking at cutting 4.5 million jobs because of AI or because of robotics. But the implications are even greater than that. These are bootstrap jobs. These are jobs that help a lot of people go to the next level, college kids, even high school kids, as we've noticed as things start to automate. Now, it can be good and bad, which we talked about today. Let's talk about the good side of it. The good side of it can be that we got less people getting burned in kitchens. That's just, you know, for the adverse side of it. But we also have taken jobs away and the ability for people to feed their families. Or will that happen in the future? Those are some of the things that they're looking at AI and some of the ramifications of AI. But we also have to look at our workforce. Now, the only problem I see, number one, like I said before, is the diversity part of it. The other thing I see is, do we need to start our kids in STEM earlier? And the answer is yes. There was a symposium of 8,500 researchers and doctorates and engineers about AI. This is in 2016. There were only 8 Black people out of 8,500 people at that symposium. So when we talk about AI and we talk about the ramifications of AI and how it's used, we need to also talk about the ramifications it has for Black people, people of color, women, darkest, and people that have melanin in their skin. That's the big problem. Of course, we're going to always talk about jobs. Jobs are always going to be on the forefront. But we have to be at a certain level where, like I tell everybody, you have to become an entrepreneur. You cannot look at people to give you a job anymore. You have to start your own structures, because we know where the pocketbooks lie. And if there is not our wealth, then it's going to be usurped from us. So do I think it's out of control? Absolutely, in a way. The other part, I think, is we need to make our kids go back outside again. We need to teach our kids. I remember playing with my dad, and he teaching me about televisions. He was a TV radio man. He was a military man. So this is where I got my love of technology. And we need to make sure that kids are getting a balance of computer and phone time, but also making sure that they can walk up a flight of stairs. They can exercise. Part of the problem we see today is people don't know how to work. I'm fixing computers, and we have people come in with us. These are some of the computers that we're fixing. People come to just to come to see if they can do the job, and we train them. People literally cannot turn a screwdriver. These are things that I learned from my dad. And if we got people that can't do basics, yes, robots are going to take their jobs. Because guess what? Robots don't need a break. They don't complain. They don't need lunch. Is it terrible? Absolutely. But when people think about the bottom line, they don't think about the human factor.
I think, you know, when I'm talking to you, it's just a wealth of information that we see our world has changed. You know, I grew up in the 60s. I'm a 60s baby, born in 1962. The world was so different then. We had Michael Jackson, who was singing on the LP, and wow, Dramatics and Spinners, and those were my favorite groups back in that day. Al Green, favorite groups back in that day. And that day is gone, you know, because here comes LPs, and then came the movies, because we went from that age to the cassette to I'm sorry, the VHS. Darlene, Jerome, we had those at Blockbusters. Everybody's getting those movies. I still got some of them in my basement. I don't know why. My wife would want to throw them out, but you know, those movies are on because VHS tapes. I had thousands of them. I had more movies that I rented from Blockbusters than they could count. But that day is gone. Then we moved from that age to the CDs. Now we moved from the CDs. Now we got Alexa. Alexis is dear, and that those days are gone. And you know, to be still stuck in those days, you're going to be behind in technology, and everything is processing faster. 5G is out. You know, I wanted to ask you about the AI. We talked about the education system. We talked about the employment system. We're talking about this generation. My sister Darlene has grandkids. You know, in 10 years, they're going to be 10 years older. You know, Jerome has his granddaughter, 16 years old. 10 years, she'll be 26. You know, is this really made for them? You know, I'm in my 50s. It's all of this technology, and there's something I saw on the internet where this man from China, he married a person in a little bottle. It was he didn't want a human being anymore. He married a person in the bottle, and you can YouTube and see it yourself. He married her, she sleep with him, he get her out the bottle and put her back in. Jerome, I don't know how we would do that, man. She's like a human being. Come on.
But she's not human. Here, you're always going to have some type of anomaly. And then when we talk about people that are into technology, sometimes they can be really off the deep end. There has to be some common sense along with what we do as far as technology is concerned. When you have someone that wants to marry someone because that's a control situation, they're not marrying an equal. They want someone that they can control and tell what to do. That's totally not what we know as human beings. So in that fashion, is AI out of control? Absolutely. But there are good things to AI, just like there are bad things to AI. Some of the good things are, let's talk about the big three motor makers, automobile makers. Right now, for a long time, all the dangerous jobs were done by robotics. This way, they were keeping repetitive motion injuries down in plants. That's one of the reasons they went to it. But on the other side of that argument was, it was a way for them to keep the union under control. So there is a good and a bad side to AI. There's an extreme, but we also have to think about what we had expected. For a matter of fact, think about this. Now can carry a terabyte of information. This is a USB thumb drive. It can carry a terabyte of information, a terabyte at your hands. And a terabyte is 1,000 gigabytes. Now, 1 gig of data, you can count it as 1 billion sheets of paper with data on both sides. So that would be 1 billion sheets of paper, enough to cover literally a shopping mall. But you can carry that in your pocket. Remember the old phone books? In your pocket. So while we have this discussion about AI, let's also think about the human factor and think about how it helps and hurts. You have questions, I have answers.
Yeah, we want to open it up. I know people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook Live, you know, chatting in. AI is here. You know, the chips are here. Even some people overseas got the chips in their phone. I'm sorry, in their arm. I mean, it's kind of scary because even with COVID-19 going on in our world today, we don't know 10 years from now how they're going to do the shots. If there's going to be a shot at all to take, they may have a scan and something over your body. It's just so much is going on. They can humanly clone almost anything. One of my favorite shows I like to look at on Saturday morning, it's Exploration 2050. I look at that show a lot. I love that show. And they're talking about how the world going to be as we go in the future. I can be sitting right here, and another clone of me can sit right beside me. Even in with technology, again, you can't name me too many things that your phone can't do.
Well, actually, you can. Let's think about the human factor. The phone can't walk by itself. It can't charge itself up yet. You know, it doesn't breathe. It can't hug you. The phone can't fix you a meal. Now, you can ask the phone to call somebody to bring you something. But there are a lot of things that the phone can't do. I wrote a book called Mommy is a Computer Smarter Than Me. And it addresses that with children. There's a lot of things that these gadgets can't do. There is the human factor that we can't forget about. Now, you can be unconscious and not want to think about it. Or you can live consciously. It's like anything else. Yes, technology can take you over if you let it. But you have to be the one in charge. You have to be the person that's conscious on that end. And that's why we have to make sure that we're regulating our children. We even have to regulate ourselves. At night, I put my phone downstairs. I cut it off. You need to reach me. It's like the old days. You'll reach me when I get up in the morning. But, you know, as far as calling me in the middle of the night, me with a phone in the bed, no. Because as the Bible says, we're the head and not the tail. So the same thing with technology. Technology can make your life better, but it's not here to rule you.
And I'm 100% with you on that take. And I wanted to say to you, like we were talking earlier, Michelle, this is something you do. This is your field. This is what you do every day. This is a part of your life. And AI is not new to you. You already know the past, the present, even the future, where this thing is going. But I come back to the point of, has our world changed? Will we ever come back to the world that we know? And I know it's kind of hard to say, but will we ever go back to the world that we know?
No. Well, you think about it. The question is, do you really want to? Because when we look at the ramifications of going back to the world we were in, we're looking at my mother and father picked cotton. Well, not my mother, but my grandparents, because I'm a descendant of slaves. But my mother worked on a farm, worked in the field. My father was in the military, in wars. We have the technology that can stop a lot of the things that go on. Take, for example, we had our former president, right? He didn't listen to the science. Literally, had he listened to the briefings that he got back in November of 2019, more than likely, we could have helped the World Health Organization stop this pandemic. That was part of AI. They were already reporting that there was an issue in Wuhan, China, when this outbreak was starting to come out. Him and a lot of despots did not listen to the science. And that's why we have 500,000 people, over 500,000 people in the United States dead, and over 3 million around the world. But had they listened to the science, it could have gotten stopped. If we had been not only listening to some of the science, but using a little bit more common sense. And we always say common sense. Well, common sense is not always common, but we have to be more conscious and more intentional and deliberate on how we use technology. And for the people that say, we don't want it to take over, of course you don't. But at the same time, we have to make sure there's safeguards in place. That's why people like me that work in technology have to watch and make sure that the people coming up behind us, the younger generation and seniors, are getting the information about technology that they don't have. Because you can be scared of technology and close your eyes. It's still going to come. I remember Star Trek. We talked about Lieutenant Oruro. She used to wear the headpiece. I have a couple. I have these headpieces that I wear, communication devices. We also talked about the doctor, Bones, Dr. McCoy. I went and got my bone density scan. I laid on a table and they could scan my whole body. So there's some exciting things that will come, but there also will be some abuses. And that's why when we have programs like this, where we can talk about it, we can talk about how can we fix it so that people aren't getting left behind? How can we fix it so that when we talk about AI, we talk about it on a conscious level? Now, I know I've been in computers for a long time, over 20 some odd years. And what I see is that a lot of people go away from computers out of fear. I have a brother today that wouldn't use a computer to save his life, wouldn't get a new phone. He had a flip phone for like 20 years. Now he sees the benefits of having a computer, and especially in the age of COVID where they couldn't go to church, he can still not only minister to people like you guys, like you do, and he can reach people. Part of that is AI. Part of that algorithm. Is there some inherent dangers? Absolutely. We can't forget that. But there are going to be some breathtaking things on the horizon.
Yeah, and I'm just so the balance you have is just awesome. I wanted Jerome to come in, and also Darlene, if you have any questions for our expert today. And she's also, this is going to be a series, an AI, a PIC TV network news series, AI and where we are and where we're going in the future with AI. I wanted to say, Michelle, to you, you're a genius when it comes to this information technology, and you were in IT. My son Steven is in IT also, in the years and experience you had. But when I look at the food, grapes like this, and how they injecting these, chickens and things that we have today with steroids and things like that. I just think we need more balance of it, when we everybody's drinking alkaline water. Now they're saying alkaline water is up. How far is man going to go with this thing? It's going to destroy the planet we're living in, Well,
let's talk about that for just a second, because let's talk about genetically modified organisms. They started making these GMOs to combat food shortages. But again, they didn't think about the ramifications on the human body. They thought if they could make a wheat that was germ resistant or pest resistant, that they were helping. But anytime we play Frankenstein, things happen. Now, I'm a breast cancer survivor, 5 years. I also have sarcoidosis in my lungs. There are things that happen with my bodies that doctors can't explain. And that's the same thing with AI, or that's the same thing with GMOs. There are several different manufacturers that do GMOs, but as people have gotten to know, you can know who sources your food. You can know where it comes from. You can follow it from farm to table. The best weapon against anything that can be misused is education, is reading. And that's one of the things, because the principal was on earlier, our kids aren't reading enough. When we read and we educate ourselves, and I read every day, I pick up information every day. Because I'm in technology, I have to follow the information so I know what's going out. I'm an instructor. I teach computer hardware repair at a school named Cellbotics. What I do is I teach people how to repair equipment. Well, the equipment keeps advancing. Intel and AMD are some of the biggest chip makers. Well, AMD has a 64-core processing chip. That means the chip sees the computer as 64 separate computers in one chip. With the processing power, you can have literally almost unlimited RAM, and that's random access memory that you can use. So you think you got a 64-core processor running at 4.3 gigahertz. You got 128 gigs of RAM. You got not a terabyte, several petabyte hard drives in. Basically, it's a server on steroids. Well, we don't want steroids in our body, but we do want them. We don't want steroids at all, unless they're helping us in a medical way. The same thing with GMOs. We know that they're bad for us now. That's why a lot of people have gone, and a lot of food makers have gone away from it. Is it still infecting some of our food? Absolutely. Because once you plant GMOs, it's hard to get rid of. But that's the one thing about having these. We've gone back to going to farmers markets. We've gone back to some of the natural resources. But just so you know, AI helps with that too. Because AI tells us where that truck is. AI tells us how fast we can get from the farm to the market without the food spoiling. Next question about GMOs.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Darlene, Jerome, you want to come in for a minute, because this is amazing subject. I mean, we're going to cover this in a series. Come on, Jerome, you want to say something?
Yes, I've been so enlightened about this young lady, and I can say this as I listen to her speak. And everything, even with life that I look at now, when you talk about food and steroids and making it fast paced, it goes down to for the love of money. It goes back to the love of money. A lot of stuff has been manufactured for the love of money. We got to be real with it. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Money's not evil, but the love of it. So for the love of it, we shoot up things, we make them bigger, make them faster, and produce faster, get them to the clients, get them to the people. So for the love of money, has a lot to do with a lot of things. Now, when it goes back to even with the AI and the computers, and like she was saying, we got to be aware of all things. I love what she talked about common sense, because I'm on the computer, I'm shopping, bam, I'm looking at things, and I've seen 4 or 5 of my friends buy a gazebo for $1,000 in a regular store, but then you go back on the line, you see somebody selling for $99. Common sense would say something wrong with this picture. But because of AI and the frauds out there, people can steal. They say $99. You don't think, you don't use common sense. You put your information in, and bam, your money gone. I mean, come on, $1,000, $1,100. You're not gonna get it for $99 or $59. Am I right, young lady?
That is correct. But again, here's the deal. And we talk about the use or the application of money.
Yes.
But let's talk about, it's more than even the money.
Yeah.
It's control.
Right.
Anybody that seeks control will do anything that they can to subjugate other people.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is happening, even unconsciously. And so that's one of the things that we have to look at when we talk about AI, when we talk about our food supply, when we talk about even how we relate to each other.
Right.
Any system that has inherent biases, we have to look at. And AI is one of those things. But computers is that. I remember being, for a long time, I worked in corporate America. I was the only Black woman in the room a lot of the time. I was the only Black person on a team, you know, of nothing but white guys. And is it because there weren't other Black people, or was it because people didn't know? There's a big digital divide in our neighborhood. I'm hoping to stem the tide of that. That's why I create nonfiction STEM books for children. I'm into science, technology, engineering, and math to bring them up. We need to make sure that our children get into the computer fields. It's great when kids want to be a fire person, a nurse, you know, and all these other things. I'm not saying don't do that. But the world of technology, and when we bridge that divide, will help our people to be upwardly mobile. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about making sure that there are faces when people are creating these algorithms, that we're creating these algorithms for AI. That way, we don't have what we've seen. Let's talk about how they've used AI in policing and got it wrong. They went, the police were using AI technology, facial recognition. They arrested the wrong Black man. He went to jail, and there were some other things that happened to him that didn't have to happen had they just looked at the mugshot. It's not this guy. AI, facial recognition, does not work well on non-white people. We have to talk about these things.
Yeah.
And that's not a money thing. That's a bias thing, because the people they're using to make this software, the people that they're using for this recognition, are white people or lighter skinned people. Like you said, folks in China. Well, everybody in China is basically Chinese, except for the few expats that live over there. But they built a system for them. It doesn't work well here. It doesn't work on Black people here. The ones that Microsoft and Google did. It wasn't recognizing the faces of Oprah Winfrey. Everybody in the world knows who she is, unless you live under a rock. Serena Williams, Michelle Obama. So there are some problems with AI, absolutely. Can we bridge the gap? This is amazing, and I'm reaching out now. There on Facebook is a group called Black in AI. There are about 1,200 members, and they are literally sitting on these committees. They're working on these teams in Google, Microsoft, even in Facebook, to try to right some of the disparities. Is it mainstream yet? No. But do they know there's a problem? Absolutely. And that's part of the battle, knowing that there's a problem.
And that's amazing. I want to ask Darlene if you want to come in and have any comments, and we're gonna have a commercial. This got to be a 7-part series, and I'm telling you, I can't wait to Michelle, you bring the big power people in who you said knows in the work in this field. We decided to put this subject out, the series on AI today, tomorrow, and the future change of our world. A lot of people don't even know that it's moving faster than time, supersonic speed. The AI is taking place. Darlene, did you have any comments or anything you wanted to share? I know you've been on for a while, hanging in there.
I just want to thank Michelle so very much in educating the people on the PIC TV network all over the world for her superb information, letting us know that even in AI is segregated. So with the Black African-American people that are in AI, we're the only ones that can correct this, because we are who needs just to be in correction. We are the only ones that can correct it. So just as you said, we have to get our kids back into STEM programs. We have to get our kids off the computer into learning how to repair the computer, because someone put that information in there.
That's correct.
Someone put the information in there. Everything man-made is subject to fail. So somebody's going to have to repair it. So with you giving the information that you have given on tonight, it is so needed across the world, because so many kids think that computer controls them. That was the number one thing that I feel that needs to be heard and said. You control it. It does not control you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I have thoroughly enjoyed you this evening. You have enlightened me in so many different ways. You've brought back memories when my father used to teach me how to repair light. Strip it. If that cord goes bad, if it burns out, you couldn't just throw it away. You had to repair it. We couldn't afford to just get another lamp. You had to repair it. I got my first car, got a flat tire. It was inherited to me from an uncle. Drove it all the way from Red Springs, North Carolina. The tire got flat as soon as I got home. You know what he told me? You need to get out there and change that tire. Exactly. Because I'm not going to be with you always. You need to know what a jack is. You need to know what a wrench is. You need to know how to change that tire. Take it off, put it in your car. It has a donut in the back. Put that donut on, drive it to the filling station, get that tire repaired, bring it back home and put it back on. And put that donut back in your trunk. But these days, they look online for everything. But they don't look online to gain information. They just want to see how it's done. But it's more to it than that.
See, that's what you bring up, such great valid points. And that all comes back to how we educate our children. A lot of it are the simple things that they're missing just from us. Number one, spending time.
Yes.
Parents that read to their children create smart children. Now, it's already been, this is a study that I read today. Children that go to Head Start are smarter than children that don't get that in advancement. Children that have their parents reading to them, not only when they come out of the womb, but inside of the womb, are inherently smarter than children that parents that don't read. Do you have books in the home? It's okay to have a Kindle Fire, but books that people can touch, books that kids can read, and you sitting there reading to them and reading with them will make your kids inherently smarter. Because people always ask me, well, how did you get to be so smart? My father used to read with me, and so did my mom. And then I have 4 brothers and a sister. So we were a reading family. We have to return to the times when we read. It's okay to have these phones, these mini computers, but they're not the end all be all. And remember, not all the information that you get off of Google or Bing or any search engine is always accurate. Somebody with biases also puts in that information. And those are the things that we have to think about. So I am so glad that I could share, because it's parents like you that have parents and grandparents that are teaching their kids, hey, let's read together. Let's love one another. Let's go to church. All those things mean something, because the other part of being an AI, you're talking about something that will try to mimic the human behavior. But as human beings, we're hardwired to God. Let's not forget that. I've been in computers a long time, but I'm going to tell you, like my doctors told me when they looked at my lung scan, they're like, you're breathing on lungs that say you should be dead. Is that a computer or is that God? That's God. And that's what we have to teach our children. We have to be God-centered. I love technology. Don't get it. I love tinkering and building and teaching technology. I love it. But our brains are hardwired to God. AI brains are not.
Amen. And that's one thing that we have to be mindful of. We are in the signs of the time of the Bible. but we have to be reminded we're in the world, but not of the world. And we can do the things that God has allowed technology to be here because he knew that this virus was be here. It's nothing new to God. But just as you said, we are definitely wired to him. So we got to have that newspaper in one hand and have that Bible in the other hand. It'll show you exactly where we are. Yes. And we need it. This is what we need. But we have to stay rooted and grounded in God's word. So we'll know how to use this AI information correctly.
Yeah, I think, you know, when I hear, and we're going to close out in a few minutes, when I have this device in my hand, and the device that I have controls the information that I learn, and I see, Alexa, how many subscribers? I was going to ask Alexa how many subscribers. I think I pulled her off, but there's billions of people, and I think we're in a world now where Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, LiveMe, all these apps are mega apps, and there's a Netflix documentary called Social Dilemma. Everybody needs to look at that. And it talks about the founders of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, how they never thought it would be this way. And I want to talk about tomorrow, Michelle, cyber crimes. How many young people have checked out because they went on the line and saw somebody that they were beefing with, or, you know, bullying or something else, and they took their lives. That's something that we have to talk about. We have to get into this because that's real. It's, you know, this can be one of the greatest friends or one of the greatest enemies. This can be one of the greatest friends or one of the greatest enemies. You know, the rate is just skyrocketing. We're going to get into that. And even some of the people who bombarded Darlene and Jerome, the Capitol, they did it just to get publicity right here. They did it just so they can be on the internet around the world. Who else would just go in the Capitol, storm the Capitol, and put their feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk and take me a snap picture? You know,
it's more than that. Let's think about it, because we're God-centric people, right? I mean, you know, I know I can speak for everybody on this panel because I've talked to you, and I know how much you're rooted in God. The problem is that the people will sell their souls for that 15 minutes of fame. That's not an AI problem. That's a soul condition. That's a lack of saying that you're a person of God or you're God-fearing, but you're doing the exact opposite. Now, trust me, I'm not a saint. I've broken God's laws, you know, when I was little. We all have. Even if you speed, you're breaking the law. But at the same time, when do we come back to not selling our souls for a moment on television, or not selling our souls for a moment on TikTok? Some of the things that people do because they see other people do it and think that's the way to fame, or that's the way for popularity. That's always been an issue, and that's not an AI issue. That's not even a computer issue. That's an issue of, I'm not good enough and I'll do anything to get noticed. I'm not enough, or I got a hole in my soul, and I will sell myself in order to get noticed. Those are the things that we have to address with our community. But we also have to address some of the things that we let go on in our communities. Like back in the day when they had the Black exploitation films, and they talked about pimps and all that other stuff, and they sold people a lie. Well, we can use our technology to give us better truths, but we also have to build communities that were stricken by drugs and they had absent mothers and fathers. And those communities are going to have to be rebuilt, because no matter how much money we throw at poverty, or how much we have AI, or how much good we do, until we root out the cancer and fix it, it's still going to be a very broken system. And that's the same thing for technology. It'll be broken as long as it's for the misdeeds instead of the good.
Wow, that is super great. Everybody's watching right now the PIC TV Network news story, our special presentation. We'll have a series, 7-part series, AI. You know,
I got some great news for you.
Yeah.
Dr. Jared Albritton, he's one of the black men in tech from Clubhouse. He's agreed to come on, and he works in technology. And him and Mr. Kavanaugh, he's a venture capitalist, we're working to get them on so they can talk more in depthly about this divide that they see in AI and some of the ramifications, some of the good and some of the bad. So I cannot wait. You're going to love these guys. They're amazing. And then some of the women that are pioneering in AI, I'm also reaching out to some of my friends that are in the industry to see if we can continue to have these conversations. So Dr. Evans, this has been amazing. And I could talk about technology literally all night.
Hey, we here to learn. You know, we here because this is your field. You know, you got the ball. You made a home run. We won, and we excited about you. We're gonna close out tonight. Don't forget tomorrow. Please tune in. Part 2. We got 7-part series of AI, artificial intelligence, and we want you guys to tell somebody about the PIC TV network. I'm going to ask Darlene and Pastor Bowie, and then I'm going to ask you to close out with just 1 minute of what you love about PIC TV Network. And I'm starting with Jerome, Darlene, and then one last comment, words from Michelle, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, and we from Washington. We got Bowie, Maryland on with Capitol Heights, Maryland. We were in Baltimore earlier with the principal. Mr. Jefferson was on us, and we were also Eon Campbell was representing also the DMV in Virginia area. Jerome, just tell our audience, just 2 things that you love most about the PIC TV network, our own network.
Things I love about it is that it was started with a vision, and the person that had the vision believed in the vision and went forth with it. And secondly, I like the fact about that the PIC TV network is not coached. No one was prepped or coached for this. It's live, it's raw, it's real. And this hour has been one of the most enlightening hours of my life. And I thank God for you, Michelle, and what you. I'm telling you, I am so revved up now for just the knowledge that you gave. My mind is going. So I love about this network is the fact that we get it real and raw, and it's not prepped up. It's real. When you was talking about the computers and what's going on, AI and the technology, I work with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. He does plumbing. I go with him on some occasions, and they had this camera that can go in the ground and take pictures of the pipes. So now, when people lie to you saying your pipe is busted, you got to pay $7,000 to dig your yard up, and that wasn't the case. Now he started the company because he got tired of working for these big companies and lying to these people. So he put the camera in the ground and showed you a video what's wrong with the pipe. And a lot of times, really don't be nothing wrong with the pipe. It just needs something else. So I thank God for technology. So I'm about to come up with something that if it is something wrong with the pipe, how can we take the camera and make it something else to fix the pipe while it's in the ground? I tell you, my mind is roaming now. Thank you so much. And that's what it's about.
Well,
Tell us one thing you like about the PIC TV network, Darlene.
Yes, I love the PIC TV network because it's just as it says, it's public information channel for the people, by the people, to the people. And certainly, Dr. Evans, you have done a remarkable job allowing people to come on. This is, as Mr. Bowie, Pastor Bowie stated, it's not correct. It's live. It's from the heart. It's from our heart to yours. It's information that we have to share with the world, how we can be better on the PIC TV network. So I love the PIC TV network. I love it. You have very interesting people that come on here, and it's a very educational channel.
Yes.
Thank you. And Michelle, you know, being the PR person all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, to be a wealth of information to bring us people like Caitlin Rogers, who we interview, who has 6,000 or more people on Clubhouse, and connecting with Les Brown. I was in a room with him earlier today, and they were excited about some information about PIC. I talked to the second person in command with him. Matter of fact, I DM'd you the person's name to get in contact with them to bring them more into spotlight. Michelle, give me two things that you love about the PIC TV network, and you know why you're so happy, excited about our very own.
Well, we have programming here at PIC that make sure that, number one, we're included, because that's not what we see. We see these made up faces, these fake people that don't look like us, that don't represent us, that don't represent the positivity and the inspiration of our community. What we see is sensationalism in television, and these things don't align with giving inspiration, uplift, education, and hope. And that's what PIC TV Network does. This is a vehicle that BET could have been had they probably stayed black owned instead of going to Sony Viacom. And that's why I'm invested in making sure that this is a living legacy that lives on, because you're doing something very amazing with PIC TV Network. And I'm very, very proud and happy to be a part of it.
When we can come on and we can share our own news, nobody pulls the plug on us and tell us, you know, you can't say that. Michelle talked and informed us and educated us and inspired us. And we're going to do a 7-part series on this. You know, we have 60 channels for those who are watching. This is a 100% African-American Black-owned network. And these people are part of the team, the dream team of PIC TV Network. Jerome Bowie has covered so many stories, from feeding the homeless to all types of people, Spanish people, helping folks, tractor trailer loads of food. That's the man to get him. Darlene Harrington, she helps people with decorating their homes. Michelle, who's in information technology, and also a public relations person on the PIC TV Network. It's a family trying to help others to be better. That's why we're here with this 7-part series. You don't want to miss it. We're having some more information. Check out our public events channel, 937. Then we have our news channel that we've been on, telling people about our own news channel where we can cover a beautiful segment of news. And again, we didn't cover nobody, you know, doing something wrong the whole segment. We gave you some information that will help you to be better. I can't wait till we come on tomorrow night on part 2 of the 7 series on AI and how the world is changing today, tomorrow, and for the future. Thank you, everybody. Let's wave to everybody. Thank you for your time. We'll see you on tomorrow.
We've all been hurt at some point, even abandoned. Many of us have done the hurting ourselves. We get to the point where we don't trust anyone, nor do we feel worthy of being loved by anyone. Then there's that one person who just doesn't give up on loving you. Their love is unconditional. Their love stays long enough for you to heal. And then they promise to never leave. That's love you can count on. God's love.